Today's episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio is brought to you by Gamers Inn, your one-stop location for all your gaming needs. Located in Lehigh City, Utah, their fun and friendly staff will be more than happy to answer any of your gaming needs. Just remember, Gamers Inn, it's where adventures begin.
It's time to power up.
Autobots, roll out!
Broadcasting live from the DCR studio.
Oh yeah!
The Geek Revolution starts here.
Excellent!
Get ready for the #1 hit geek radio show out there.
Well, it is impressive, isn't it?
Because it's time for Dungeon Crawlers Radio.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Alright everyone, welcome to another episode of Dungeon Crawlers where we're going to talk about
I am Groot.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We're going to review it, so if you haven't seen Guardians, turn this off now. Go see the movie, then come back.
And stay through the whole thing. You gotta watch all the credits.
Yes.
All the credits.
Spoilers.
Every single credit. Don't get up in the middle of the credits.
No, wait till the end.
Seen something you thought came.
Wait till the end, and then watch everything that happens after the end. And when the big Marvel sign shows up, then you can leave.
Yes.
Because there's four.
When they turn the
Five.
lights on and
Five.
There are five.
it's turned on and the screen stops.
You
Yes.
can usually grab some extra popcorn on your way out at that point.
Yes. So, let's review Guardians of the Galaxy, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else.
There's a lot of ugly in there.
That was sad. So, did you read? Yondu's the first main character to be killed in the MCU universe.
Yep.
Ooh,
If
good.
he-
So, for
actually
those of you that listen, now you know.
It's a
Oh.
spoiler.
that
It's a
was
spoiler.
a fast
Big show.
spoiler too.
Uh,
well, that one's all over the internet too.
That is. Mary frickin' Poppins, man.
I love that
Freaking
scene.
Poppins.
Is he the first to die?
He is. He's the first main character. He's not the first character to die, but the first main.
Died,
But he's
was
not-
brought
he's-
back,
he's-
and so was Nick Fury.
But they're
He
also
does come back 'cause he's
side
in
characters.
S.H.I.E.L.D..
They're not main characters.
Well, they explained Tahiti. That's where Coulson.
You're saying
Exactly.
Phil
Yes, yes,
Coulson
yep.
and Nick Fury are not main characters?
At the
Nick
time-
Fury-
Yondu is?
No.
Nick Fury wasn't killed. He faked his death.
At the
Yep,
time,
in the over
okay,
the
no,
glasses.
that's okay. At the time, Phil Coulson was just a side guy. He wasn't a main character until Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mind your tongue.
He wasn't.
He's got a point. That's
it's
that's
true.
kind of where he.
As
came from.
as was Nick
But he's
Fury.
also not dead.
Exactly.
As
Well,
was
it
Nick.
depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
And technically, the Kree, which is exactly what Yondu is the reason that he's still alive.
Yeah.
So there could be a huge tie-in to
Hold
him,
up,
Yondu
Yondu's
coming
a
back
Kree?
with the
Yes.
Kree. Yes.
You didn't know that?
They said it in
They
Guardians
said
of the
it.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
It excited me.
He's a Kree.
Dude, I know.
I need
more
to go
than
back
you.
and watch the other one.
Wow.
I've seen the second
so-
one. I need to go back and rewatch
So there's
the
a lot of
first. It's been a
things
while.
that happened. We got to see the Ravengers,
Mhm.
which were the first
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Love the Ravengers.
with Sylvester Stallone. So,
It was a nice appearance, I thought.
and it's rumored that they're going to show up in the Infinity Wars. So that'll be exciting. We also got to see the creation of Adam Warlock, which is one of the end credit scenes where the Queen is there, and I will name him Adam. So that's Adam Warlock's character. So that's exciting to see that one. We'll see where that goes. But I'm pretty sure he'll show up in the Infinity Wars because that's where he's got to show up.
He's a main player in the Infinity Wars, is he not?
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
I'm worried about that because it seems like he and his team might even be cannon fodder in the Infinity Wars.
Who?
Sylvester
Oh, the
Stallone,
Ravagers?
based on how they were brought in.
Yes and no. Because if I remember right, they did announce a Ravengers.
I actually tried to look that up, but I couldn't
Ravengers?
find it.
Okay, they didn't. Okay.
I
But
haven't
you know
seen
what?
that
I
anywhere.
keep
I've
seeing a
been
lot
looking.
of dual
There's
news
a-
everywhere.
There
so
is.
it's
There's a
really
lot of
hard.
movies that they've
And
thrown up and
Fake
they've
news
pulled
sites.
away.
Fake
I
news sites
found one
everywhere.
that's horrible to deal
Sad.
with.
Very
Yeah.
sad.
But even if they are cannon fodder, it's still going to be exciting to have them in there.
It's true.
Because we do know Guardians is going to be in the Infinity Wars, and they're already filming that, and they're combining all that. So, let's jump into this. The intro. The beginning of the movie. What'd you think?
Oh my gosh, I love Groot.
Okay. I think I'm the only one here that's negative against it because I wanted to see them fight. I wanted to see more of that fight with the big monster that was like
That's
the one
true.
from Star
Okay,
Wars.
so-
Star Wars,
so
Force
I-
Awakens.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it looked
Yeah.
like a clone of him except a lot bigger.
Yeah.
They
But
could
I
have
wanted to
stretched that
see
out.
more of like I love that kind of fighting an alien
Yeah.
that could kill you.
Well,
with easy
and this is
rock
the thing
attacks.
that you kind
It
of
was
they.
hilarious. It was a great intro. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it was awesome. But I wanted to see more of
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, in the trailer, they kind of hint that you see the fight,
Yeah.
but you really don't.
And it's all in focus, and I'm just like, wait,
You kind of see it in the background as
Yeah.
Groot's doing his thing. But I think that was kind of a great way to start it because you see the first one ends with him dancing, and the second one starts with
Comes
him
back in
dancing.
with him dancing.
So it
Yeah.
was kind of good. I enjoyed that. But
Oh,
I
yeah,
did want to
cinematic,
see
dude.
the fight though. It's like, come on, yeah, all right, fine. I'll just keep watching Groot.
At least I'm excited because we get to see Rocket later on in his real habitat and his just in his environment taking on an entire army of Ravagers. Like that was awesome. I'm sorry, that was like one of my favorite parts. Is Rocket
On the
killing-
planet?
they're taking everyone
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Like that's just not killing everyone, but taking everyone down. That was
Yeah.
that made me so happy inside.
That was funny.
So
I did
happy
enjoy
inside.
it. Then the arrow shows up and he's like, oh crap.
He knows exactly who he's dealing with at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think about Ego?
Oh, it was. I liked it a lot. I liked how they stayed true to the comic, where when you saw the world, you saw his face.
Yeah.
I love that because it's so menacing and so, you know. I also thought the actor. I thought
Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell did a great job. I
Love. Kurt
So
Russell.
what did you think about when you saw him as a younger person? Because that wasn't CG. None of it was.
That wasn't CG.
No
Really?
practical effects. Kurt Russell's makeup guy knows his face so well, he was able to pull back time and make him look like that. The only CG that they did was just to make it look succinct with everything else, but they hardly did anything.
And that is amazing, especially his movements felt like a young Kurt Russell.
Oh, yeah.
Because you notice that in people's bodies. Like when they get older, they move slower. But
Yeah.
Kurt looked.
Oh yeah, he was moving.
He looked like overboard Kurt.
Yeah,
He did.
yeah, he did, and that was all makeup and practical effects.
I mean, I halfway
Which is
expected
just
them to
amazing.
Talk about the Pork Chop Express in those younger shots.
Yeah.
You know, it was just that's really amazing that wasn't computer graphics.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
That's awesome.
And you know the reason he wanted to do that is because it doesn't look creepy. You know, a lot of the CG he says looks creepy. You know, it's great, but it looks creepy. It doesn't look practical.
Iron Man and Jack Sparrow don't look that bad. The Jack Sparrow actually convinced my Jack that they'd staffed somebody to do that position.
Yeah.
He freaked out on me. But yeah, both of them have done CGI younger versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Because they have enough video footage of them. That's how they did Robert Downey Jr.
Well,
and Iron Man.
yeah, and even that wasn't too bad though.
No, you
you
don't
know.
even really tell.
Yeah, because they were still using him, just using his face to kind of model it back.
I do admit, like even going back to it completely outside of the Marvel universe and going to Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, seeing that on a normal screen that's not a big like movie theater screen is actually really good, really believable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Robert Downey Jr., I will agree, totally better. Much
Well,
better.
so Tarkin was good,
He's
but
more
then,
better for you.
but when you look at the Leia at the end, you can it really, and I think it's because we had the difference where every time we saw Tarkin was in a dark, shadowy place, so that helped get rid of that. But you know, Leia is in a bright white control room, and
I'm
she's
just
wearing a
grateful
white
that I'll never
outfit.
see that again on a
Yeah.
big screen, and
Yeah.
I'll only see it on my smaller TV screens. Because honestly, it didn't look that bad to me on
No,
the
I mean,
smaller screens.
it's still enjoyable, but it was definitely interesting. But the practical effects they did with the younger Kurt Russell were amazing, and then him playing Ego was beautiful. I've never seen anything Kurt Russell's been in that I have not liked. I mean, he always brings his A game, and it's just fantastic. You know, from Overboard to Big Trouble in Little China to Snake Plissken. Just awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. Loved his.
I mean, even the
delivery.
Disney stuff he did when he was a kid. I mean, it's just fantastic.
He's so menacing too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't see him as a menacing person. I see him as
Oh, you should
kind
see.
of the fatherly.
You need to
figure.
see him in like Hateful Eight and Bonesaw. Yeah,
Yes, I do. Apparently.
yeah, because
Hateful Eight was great.
you can easily watching those and then watching Guardians. You're like, oh yeah, he could do this. He can channel that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
he's
when they start throwing the little ball of energy from the center of the planet, that's the cutest
Playing
thing
catch
ever.
with Dad.
there was a lot of mushy family lovey stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It was
It
in a
didn't
good
bother
way. It was
me
in a
at all.
comedic way.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was definitely well played out because I don't think most movies could pull that off without making people go, eh. But it never did that to you.
Yeah.
I just noticed it afterwards. It's like, wow, there was a lot of good, lovey family story in there that
There's also a couple
on.
things that it's like, why did you have to throw this in? I mean, which, it's been debated for a long time. Does Ego have no parts? I mean, really. And they had to throw that in the movie. It's like, really? Did we need to have that
It's
moment?
drags.
But
Yeah.
it is. But at the same time, it was funny because I liked how Peter Quill responded. I don't need to know this. This isn't something that pertains to anything. It was the voice of reason that everyone else
Yeah.
back here is thinking. Why is anyone having a debate about this in the first place?
Well, yeah, and they did deliver it in a good way for that. But it's like, did we really need to put that in there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary.
But the way they delivered it did work really well.
yeah,
And the way Kurt Russell delivered that line. Well, of course I do.
and a nice one at that.
Yeah. So, just, however, I am disappointed that
The brain.
the Groot thing. Well, the brain was weird too.
The brain was weird.
It's like, okay, he has a
really
brain
a
and then
brain?
started building this planet around. So he's literally a floating brain. All right.
It should have been more of a heart, like looking like a heart organ.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Because
or a
they
ball
said it
of
was
light,
the heart of the
because-
planet. That's what created
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah, a heart.
A
Definitely.
Yeah.
heart or light.
Or
Actually, like
an
light.
orb of light that kind of
Yeah,
pulse
because
like
a heart.
pulse like a heart. Yeah.
Celestial being.
Yeah.
I would have accepted a ball of light,
Yes.
like pulsing like a heart. There we
Yeah.
go.
That made more sense than this weird glowing
Pulsating
brain.
light
Yeah.
bulb.
Yeah.
That's what they need. Pulsating light balls.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, they were playing with a ball of light, so
that makes it sound so much worse when I was about to say, and then the goo stuff that covers the planets. Oh my gosh. Our show just became PG-13. But no, like how he's like covering the planets with himself. Like,
Yeah.
like this.
With that stuff
blue
that comes
goo?
from the flower.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that
But was
was
it a goo? Because it looked more like it would harden into a rock almost. Like it was
It was
new-
like
the
lava.
other
New
planet-
goes like
Well,
lava.
that's
yeah,
the
it
pl-
was a lava
yeah.
effect on the other
It would
planets.
Yeah.
envelop everything and then create a crust, and then it would start over. I mean, that's literally what he was
Pretty
trying
much
to do.
like lava.
Yeah,
So
lava.
wait, would that make the existing planet the new core of his?
Yeah, so basically
central
what he
planet.
was trying to do is take the energy from all the planets, which would give him more energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
He's
I don't
very
know.
bored immortal.
He was.
It's all-
But there were a lot of, I mean, I don't know if anyone caught the cameo of his Peter's grandfather that was in the car that gets, the lava hits it in the back and then it's jacked up on its side.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
You didn't
no.
catch that.
That was Peter's grandpa?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ah.
Yeah, which you see at the very beginning of the first one. So, yeah, it was interesting.
So can we talk about the one of the cameos at the very end, since we're just mentioning cameos?
Sure, go ahead.
Stan Lee talking to the observers,
The Watchers.
the Watchers.
So,
Yeah.
he's a watcher.
Oh.
He is a watcher.
Is he
He
the
is.
same character through all
Yes,
of them then?
he is a watcher. They did confirm. Marvel did confirm that he is a watcher, which now makes sense because if he's sitting there talking to the other watcher, saying, and the one time I was
Yeah.
a mailman, and then I was
And
a
he
guy
was
in a
in the city.
bathrobe.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a FedEx delivery
Yeah.
guy.
And
Oh, yeah.
so he's tying everything together. He's there, and that's what the watchers do. They watch the universe and then they convene together and tell each other what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that essentially was them saying Stan Lee's a watcher. Explains why he's in every movie, which is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
By being able to be a watcher, because they never interfere with events, but they're always there, watching. And so it would make sense why he's in every movie now.
See, and I always loved how Alfred Hitchcock would do the same thing. He had a little cameo in all of his.
Yeah.
But when Stan Lee takes that step further, it's a stroke of genius.
However, with that said, Stan Lee has also been in the other Spider-Man movies, all of them.
He has.
So he's been in that opens up the door to multiple universes,
Well,
which we
Sony-
were hoping that we would get from Doctor Strange. So could one of the other Spider-Mans show up.
Even from the Sony email leaks, we know that Sony not only was thinking about uniting the two Spider-Man universes, both Garfield and
and Tobey Maguire.
Maguire. They were going to actually have the Amazing Spider-Man versus Spider-Man. Like, they were going to unite those two universes. And then when they started getting into talks with Marvel, they were toying with the idea of the same thing in these broad board meetings. But, of course, we don't know the final conclusion of that.
True.
But at least we have this new Spider-Man. So it would be nice to actually bring back my Toby. I would love to see my Spider-Man.
He's really old, though.
He was my favorite. Yeah.
He is old, and yes, but he's who I grew up with.
I know.
It's like bringing back Christopher Reeves as Superman. You know, it's that.
Yeah, that would end up being that would end up being Black Superman, Black Lantern Superman, because he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Now it would be, but I mean, back in the day, you know, you want that, you want your Spider-Man back. I loved Andrew Garfield, but I love Tobey.
Andrew Garfield was good. I don't think he was a solid choice. He was good, but I don't think he was great.
I'm too picky about my Spider-Man. I never went and saw those ones. I saw 1, 2, and 3 with Tobey Maguire, and I loved all 3 of them. Yeah. And all the reasons people didn't like number 3, especially, were all the reasons I loved number 3.
Tobey Maguire looked like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
However, I hated the fact so the one thing in Spider-Man in the comics, he does everything to keep his face hidden. I mean, to one point, he's running around in Fantastic Four pajamas and a paper sack over his head with eye holes, just so no one knows who he is. But in those movies, that mask was coming off like so many times. Like when he's trying to save the guys on the subway train, he rips off the mask. Why? It made no sense. And that's the one thing that always bugged me about those. And then we get to 3, and the giant pigeonhole crap shoot that was ruining one of my favorite villains, Venom.
I'm not a fan.
They crammed too much in. That's
any
true.
day of the week. Topher Grace, oh baby, I will take that Venom.
I'm okay with Topher Grace. They ruined the character with the way it looked, and that he didn't have enough screen time, and it's like he was gone.
Very much, yeah.
You're right. I forgot that about number 3. They took too many.
Too many villains were crammed in there.
They crammed them all together.
Yeah.
They could have been 3 other movies out of that one.
Too many villains. You can have a Sinister Six movie, but even then you need to give
equality time.
Yeah.
You have to give all the we'd have to have a movie for each villain, and then they come together.
Yeah.
And then we have a movie with all of them, because that way you have the origin.
Movie. I would sit through that.
See, and maybe it's just me. Maybe because I think I've always felt Venom was the epitome of an arch nemesis.
Oh yeah, because
Spider-Man. And now of course you can't forget Dr. Octavius. You can't forget a lot of the Green Goblin, and they had some great roles in their movies.
Yeah.
But Venom deserved so much more than what he was given.
No, I mean
Spider-Man had so many great villains.
Well, we had Sandman. Okay, it was really focused on Sandman. We should have left it at that. Yeah, we could have had Harry show up as a Goblin like they did. That's great. They shouldn't have thrown Venom in there. He should have had his own
movie. Exactly.
And Topher Grace could have pulled off an Eddie Brock. Now it's kind of weird. Eddie Brock's normally a much bigger guy.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They still could have pulled it off with him. But they just ruined a fantastic character, because Venom knows all of Spider-Man's secrets. He has Spider-Man's powers, but improved upon. And we got this weakling that was defeated by throwing bars in cement and banging them. What the heck?
Yeah. And with that, the show is the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2. Oh, wait.
No. We'll go back to Guardians.
Guardians, yes.
Yes, but so I did. There were some interesting things, like.
Can we talk about Drax?
Go ahead, Drax.
I thought Drax was hilarious.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Like how much he was laughing in this. Like,
okay,
it was just,
Drax is the epitome of a socially awkward friend that doesn't know how to say things correctly.
Oh, in every instance, he says it wrong.
I mean, especially when Mantis is around. You're ugly, but you're beautiful on the inside.
Beautiful.
He's trying to hit on her, but not hit on her.
Yeah.
That's what it was coming.
I mean, like the whole scene when she's laying down, she's trying to wake him up to warn him, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? I wouldn't sleep with you." And then he's like fake vomiting. What are you doing? Imagine it. Picturing myself being with you.
Oh, I feel bad. That's like one scene I didn't enjoy him in, when he's like, when he's doing the fake,
fake vomiting thing.
Every other scene than that.
But that Dave Dave, what's his last name?
Baustio?
Yeah, he's
Bautista?
but yeah,
Barista.
you know, I've always just kind of I've always just seen him as kind of the wrestler guy that just shows up being the big buff guy in movies. I've seen him in several movies, but seeing him as Drax, you actually get to see that he has some actual
He's built.
acting. I mean, besides the fact that he's built, he can actually
amazing acting muscles.
no. I mean, he can
so
actually
sensitive.
pull off a character that's amusing. And just a character like, okay, I want to know what the crap he's gonna vomit out of his mouth next.
And then the part where he asks to be next, she's like, oh, I'm gonna find out what your true feelings are. And here I'm expecting, okay, now we're really gonna find out what he is inside, and we find out he just really is as simplistic as you think he
He's
is.
just laughing.
Yeah.
He's just
All he
happy.
feels
Pure
is laughter
happiness.
for his friend
Yeah.
who is so embarrassed because it's so funny.
Yeah.
You must be so embarrassed. Oh yeah.
Your deepest,
If
darkest
anybody's-
secret has been released.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering mine and Varen's relationship, he is my Drax. I'm just letting you know right now. He is.
So you're Peter Quill and he's your Drax.
Chris is gonna get a kick out of that.
You must be
Right now.
so embarrassed, Scott.
Oh, great. Now I'm regretting this already. Chris, miss you, man.
No,
Okay.
I mean, that was great. The Mantis's character was a little odd for me.
Yeah, I felt like that was a little.
I don't think they fleshed the character out very well, and she was very awkward.
I think that was
Yeah,
their point. Is she was raised from a larva by herself with
Yeah.
no social interaction really, except putting Master to sleep. So she doesn't know people, but she knows a little bit about herself from doing a little bit of travel. So they were trying to play into that, but I think they.
I
could've
don't.
done a little
Yeah,
bit
I think they could have
made
done
their
better.
own Mantis for this that kind of drifted away from the comics. just
Okay.
a little bit.
Yeah,
But
maybe so.
I respect, like, based on where she came from in this version, I feel that her character was very well developed and how she had turned on Master too.
Yeah.
You know.
So, what are your thoughts where he opens Peter up and his eyes change to a black filled with stars in
Where he
it when he
sees
says
everything?
eternity? What do you think he means by that? Because I picked
think
up on
he
something
should-
else.
I kind of feel like he showed him everything.
He was showing
Okay.
him that he is the universe. He is the soul base
Alright.
of the universe,
Yeah.
and that is who he
His
is.
true origins.
I think
Okay.
he just opened up the because he's what are they called? The Eternals, the
Celestials.
a Celestial.
Yeah.
I think that he just opened it up and it's literally that you can see everything simultaneously in the universe. And
Okay.
he's just showing, look, we can be anything. But then it was that. Honestly, I think he almost like put a little bit of that ego
Mhm.
into Star-Lord. Like
Uh-huh.
literally, it was you can become.
He already has an ego enough,
everything.
but all right.
Yeah.
Well, I
Because
I
he
kind of
was
saw
going
an
along
Easter
with
egg there.
it. Really?
So there is a Marvel character called Eternity, which appears as a black. It's just a silhouette, black with stars, which is what you see.
So
Is
it
that- and it's
wasn't necessarily
an
something, but
extremely
someone.
cosmic being. So I'm wondering if that's the Eternity they're referring to, and then Eternity may show up in the Infinity Wars.
Anything's possible with Marvel.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
That's
I
true.
just
That's
blew
true.
Scott's mind there
Yeah.
for a
yeah.
second.
Can we move on to Groot? Oh, no, not a Groot.
Groot?
Rocket.
Rocket?
So
Rocket.
Rocket was
Rocket, I
love
think, had
Bradley
a
Cooper.
fantastic story arc in this movie.
Loved his
Did.
story arc, especially with him and Yondu. Like how
Yeah.
they came together and just
Yeah.
how they connected.
They
Yeah.
did.
That was like the buddy bromance of the
Oh,
year. For me.
definitely.
Well,
Definitely. I want to see
oh
those
my
two
gosh.
hang out.
Yondu and Rocket, like you could make a movie series. Well, you know, if it did.
Rocket didn't want to leave.
You
Yondu
could have
at the
if
end,
they
you
hadn't
saw
closed
that.
that
He's like,
door.
I only have one of each.
My
Well-
heart was
And
like being
Yondu's like-
ripped out.
And he's like,
Well, it's kind of
"Let me
interesting.
do this. Let me have this moment. And Rocket's like,
Yeah.
ah.
you have the buddy thing going on with Rocket and Groot,
Mhm.
and then, well, we lose Groot. So now Rocket kind of buddies up with Yondu, and lose Yondu. So you got to wonder what's going through Rocket's mind right now, because I mean,
He still has Groot though. He still has.
he does. He
It's
did
not
save
the
Groot.
same- It's not the
Smaller,
same
dumber
Groot.
Groot.
Yeah,
Teenage
I mean,
Groot.
Teenage
It's
Groot at
like
the very
having
end
a
was
kid
awesome.
version of him. He's like, because he's got to take care of him
Well,
now.
that's why,
too.
I love, that's why I love Drax's smaller and dumber version of Groot.
Yeah.
That,
Well, it was funny. I mean, but he has that point where you really see him struggling. He wants to save Yondu, but Yondu's like, "No, let me have this moment," which I think is fantastic. And then you know, you have Groot going, I am Groot. And he's like, what do you say? He's like, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. Only you didn't say frickin'. And then he flies off, and then he turns to and goes, we really need to do something about your language. I mean, that's the one of the fun things I do like about that, where all you hear is "I am Groot" all the time, and they're like hold the whole conversation. How do you get that out of those 3 words?
It's just like Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a timeless relationship, and I don't think it ever grows old.
Well, I mean, even you see at the end where Peter goes into teenage Groot's messy room, and he's starting, and he can understand what Groot says
I would
now.
hope by then he would.
I know, but
It's an extra language. But no, finishing off with Rocket. Sorry, it's just
no, go
that
ahead.
moment where he actually shoots Gamora before she goes down for Peter, and how he was just like, I can't lose 2 friends.
Oh yeah. No,
like I felt for
Oh.
him in that.
No, I really like where they're going with Rocket's character. They're really building a solid character that's not just gun happy nut, which we saw in the first.
Yeah.
We're actually seeing a more fleshed out character. We saw a really fun, fleshed out character with Peter as well. I mean, we finally find out why his mom died. And then, I mean, that's like what's the turning point, because he was like, I have a dad. I'm going to do everything with dad. And then he hears the news. He's like,
You
what?
killed my mother?
Dad, you're an
And
a-hole.
then he just goes off on
That
him.
was the
And then-
perfect reaction.
And
I know.
now he has daddy issues like everyone else.
I know.
It's normal.
Well, my thing with it was where they're fighting is you see Ego form up this giant, massive rock form of him, and then you see Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Wah, 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 wah. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Well, he said he was going to make Pac-Man.
I know he did.
gonna make some weird crap. Sorry.
No, it was hilarious. So now the question is, he was able to hold an Infinity Stone. Ego is gone, but is Star-Lord's power really gone? Because if he's
See, that's what I
celestial,
It's in
because
his
Ego
genes,
created
it's in
the
his
light.
DNA.
He created the power.
He's half of that power.
Yeah.
But Ego said that power only stayed lit as long as that heart was still there. So once that heart had gone out, or that flame had gone out,
Or
that
was
power
he-
no longer
or-
existed, which is why he turned to ash.
But is that true? But that's just
but-
for him.
Yeah, but Peter didn't turn down.
And
So-
he
well,
didn't
Peter
get
can
that
have
light from
something
someone
somewhere
else.
else.
Yeah, I mean Peter may have the light within him
And it could be that it's within him and still living
because
on.
it was
That's my
within
thought.
Ego. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I feel like that's almost overpowering the character.
It is it to a point. It really is.
Because I feel like part of the sacrifice that he made in destroying that planet was he was destroying his own
Immortality and
Immortality.
power. Yeah.
Or you could look at it as and he's got this amazing ability, and just like all the other special people they find, like in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he doesn't know how to use it.
Yeah, he has to develop it. But
Where
that was the
before
fast
he had his
conduit.
dad, to show him the tutorials and whatnot.
Yondu
And now he doesn't even have an
gave him more
instruction
control than
booklet.
his dad did.
Yeah.
Yondu was the key.
Yondu
break
was the one who,
into
exactly.
that.
Who taught
I
him
don't
the
control
actual
it with
technique.
my brain. I control it with my heart. Yeah. That was
Yep.
man, Michael
I'm
Rooker.
still getting emotional.
He's coming to Sully Comic Con. We got it.
They actually have the guy that's the crystal dude in your Ravengers will be there too.
Yeah.
Sweet.
He's the one who we mentioned
Apparently he's
earlier.
Lex
What's his
Luthor.
name? From Smallville.
Michael
Michael-
Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
No.
Michael Rosenbaum. It
Yeah.
plays Lex. No?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the crystal dude.
He's the crystal dude. Which no one recognizes because he doesn't look like
Yeah.
him.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Wait, he's in that?" And he had to go back
Yeah.
because
I
I didn't
didn't
even
know
recognize
Yondu
his
was
voice.
in Mallrats until the
Oh,
image
yeah.
came up the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, that's him.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of things, but no one's really
They
recognized him.
changed his hair and
Yeah.
his face up.
Did
So-
anyone notice Nathan Fillion's little?
He's Cosmo the dog.
What?
Nathan Fillion does the voice for Cosmo the dog.
Cosmo the dog.
The dog that has the cape? Or that's the astronaut guy?
Really?
Yeah, that he did the voice for the dog.
Well, no, but he's like an actor. I saw somewhere that they were actually making posters of him that he's like one of the superheroes that was originally an actor, and that there was like posters going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Okay, maybe this was just internet rumor beforehand.
Huh.
That's why I was asking.
I don't know. I didn't see him.
Where-
I don't
I'm
remember.
looking
I know.
at the
I know. They said that he was going to do
the.
the voice for that. We saw Howard the Duck again,
saw
a
Howard,
brief
yeah.
cameo. It wasn't really much in there.
I think that was probably good though.
Yeah, Howard the Duck is a
Weird.
weird character,
Weird.
especially if you see the George Lucas version, and you get to see duck boobs. But
Yeah, I
weird.
never
There's
caught
only one
the
movie,
80s
isn't there?
version.
There's only one movie. It's the 80s one. It was
Okay.
directed by George Lucas.
I did not know
It was the
that.
very first Marvel movie ever. He did it so he could get enough money to do Empire Strikes Back, and it is weird.
It wasn't exactly the brightest idea.
It wasn't the pinnacle, but he needed money to finish Empire, so I'm glad he did it so
Yes,
we could get Empire.
I'm grateful for Empire.
But wow, yeah, you see duck boobs,
Yeah.
and it's weird. It's awkward.
Okay, so for a
But
second,
moving on.
I also loved Kraglin's role in this movie.
Okay.
I loved like the first officer of Under Yondu. Like he was amazing. Like I really like seeing his character.
When he
arc.
comes back, I'm sorry, Captain.
I didn't mean to.
I didn't mean to get everyone killed.
And then he
I
ends up
killed
taking
my
up the
friends.
mantle of Yondu with
Yeah.
the arrow.
Trying
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
yeah.
He
He shoots Drax.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked the
loved
upgrade, even though it was a prototype. I think the prototype looked a lot cooler than what he had been wearing up to that point because he had that
Yeah.
huge mohawk.
I
and-
agree. It looked a lot better.
But then them trying to get it with Groot. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Anything Groot tries to do was just fun to watch because
Yeah.
he was so bad at doing anything.
Now the
This is
one,
perfect comic relief in
the one
Cool.
thing that I was disappointed that we didn't see is after the scene where he takes, where we've seen it in the trailer and he runs off with the bomb and he
Yeah.
yells, "I am Groot." We didn't get that.
Yeah, I was.
I
waiting
noticed
to
that. I'm
hear
like, what the
yeah.
heck?
I was waiting and I never heard it.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. So, I mean, but
They
hey,
like to use edited scenes for previews.
I know, but that would have been so much better.
Or like the extended Drax, where he actually gives Peter a hug.
Yeah.
You need a hug. No, I really. You're hugging me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see that.
No,
in the movie.
you don't see
the
that
beginning
either.
of that scene.
Yeah.
You don't see
Yeah.
the ending. Just,
Yeah.
and I'm
So-
okay with that.
All right. Well, we're almost done.
Do we
So,
just want to go through every character, or do you want to?
what? What?
Gamora.
Okay, Gamora.
And Nebula.
Okay,
Nebula will be back.
Nebula will be back.
Nebula will be like a key player in the.
I do like that they brought
Infinity
somewhat resolved their issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because and then you found out why Nebula hates Gamora. They hinted at it, but they never really told you why, and now you know why. And they kind of, hey, there's a resolution to that. I'm sorry, I was just as scared as you were. What she says, and she didn't mean to cause that. I mean,
She was just trying to survive.
she was trying to survive, but not knowing that Thanos was literally ripping her apart and replacing her with robotic
Yeah.
parts. I mean, that's just horrible.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Karen Gillan does an amazing job at that, which is really weird when you see Amy. Her character is Amy Pond on Doctor Who, and then you see Nebula. It's just like, this is not the same person. It's weird.
Yeah, even
I
just
heard
pulling
the
up her
voice.
picture.
I heard
Yeah.
Amy Pond's voice come through once, and I don't remember what scene it is, but I just looked at my wife and was like,
Yeah,
That's
her
Amy Pond.
accent slipped,
yeah,
but I guess they left it. So, hey, it is what
I'm
it
fine
is.
with that.
But it's also weird to see Gamora and see Uhura at the same time. But Green.
I like that she
That's true.
used her sword at the end after he got on her for the gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thought swords were your thing.
Yeah, that was
And
funny.
then she had to use the sword to kill him.
And of course, we have to talk about Peter Quill
All right.
and his
Peter.
character development.
Yes.
Come on. Like, I feel like we're so honestly like we're along the ride with all of the side characters or the co-stars that we kind of overlook. His relationship with his dad, with everybody. I mean, he's the one that actually brings it all together,
He is.
and he did an amazing job. But it was such an overwhelming story. Like, I feel like everybody was on the bus moving together. I didn't feel like this was Peter's story, even though this was Peter meeting his dad.
No,
but
I
you
felt
gotta
like he was
remember
driving the
movie
bus.
is the movie's Guardians of the Galaxy, not
Exactly.
Peter and
Well,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
the
Peter
first
and the
one-
rest of the Guardians.
Yeah.
Peter and the Guardians.
I mean, the first one was really, let's get everyone on the bus.
Yeah.
That's the
that was
storyline.
putting the bus together.
And then this one was, it was the bus is moving. Now let's kind of put everyone together.
Together.
And then, but at the same time, it had that overall story arc of you get to choose your family. You don't have to. You're not stuck with the family
You're
you're
not stuck
born
on
with.
that bus.
Because everyone, not everyone, but most people have a family that they don't like or a sibling that's just they knock heads with. And this is like, even though you have a dysfunctional family, you still create your own family, which I think was fantastic, especially since all these characters are from dysfunctional families. Let's admit it. Drax, He's lost everyone. Gamora, Thanos.
Next to her sister.
Her sister that's wanting to kill her. Now suddenly they're working that out. Peter's dad who killed his mom, and so on and so forth.
And all his siblings.
Yeah, and all of his siblings.
How many did he have?
There were
A lot.
A lot.
hundreds of thousands.
A big pile of dead ones.
Yeah. So it's very
They
interesting.
didn't have the light, I guess is what.
They didn't have the power. Yeah.
It didn't pass through genetically, but somehow it did with Peter.
Yeah.
Must be like that red
I know,
hair
it's
because
gene
Peter
his dad
was older.
looking for.
I think it was because Peter was older.
Because he pulled them all when they were little kids. They were 7 and 8 years old. I bet you the power didn't develop until they were older.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of
Well,
characters develop.
there's that theory, or he actually did love Peter's mom. So maybe the light was able to transfer because he actually did love Peter's mom.
He said if he went back a fourth time,
He wouldn't
He
be
wouldn't
able to come
have-
back,
yeah.
and his plan would have fallen apart. So maybe that was the key thing. It was actually he did love, and so the light was able to travel. I don't know. And the rest was just, hey, I'm getting my thing on and formulating my plan. I don't know.
Trying to make a spawn that can do what I can do.
Yeah. So when the key was love, I don't know. There's a lot of subtleties in there. So, but at the very end, he admitted that Yondu was his dad. The troll got put down there, which, if anyone missed the troll, that was the same troll that was in the orb that he gave Yondu at the end of the first one, instead of the stone. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next, because now we get Thor.
kills me
Oh,
so
I'm
much.
really excited
So
for that
much
one.
they killed Yondu.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I'm looking forward to Thor.
So, with that said, folks, tell us what you think, and what fourth, because we want to know.
Are we on the money? Are we off our ball? Are we off the bat? Are we off
Yeah.
base? There we go, off the base.
Off base. So,
Because
Off your
Metacritic
rocker.
gave this 67%. I'm giving it.
so what do you give it? So at from A to F,
67?
A to F, what do you give it?
Metacritic gave it 67%.
Oh.
So at A to F, what rating do you give it?
A to F.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm giving it. I'm going to give it a low A.
A low A.
So not A minus, but a low A.
Alright.
It scooted in there about 95%. Like as far as for like a Marvel movie, it was a perfect Marvel movie.
Okay.
I liked it a lot better than the first one, but it did have some cinematic sins that were a little hard to overlook, but not many. Like honestly, this is thus far favorite movie of the year.
All right, Baron.
absolutely loved it. I'd give it a solid A.
Solid A.
Solid A.
Low A, solid A. Andy?
I'd say it's an A. It's one of the better movies that have come out. It had a flow and a storyline that actually stuck together. You didn't have a lot of holes, and it brought in the other things. So when it started talking about the Krill, it was like, or the Kree, I can't even talk today. It's like S.H.I.E.L.D., you're bringing in S.H.I.E.L.D. Is this like the lead out to Tahiti? So it like brought in a bunch of weird randomness, but brought it in a way that didn't draw. Like, what
Nice.
is going on here?
All right.
Bring back Phil.
Wow. All right.
Bring Phil back to the movies.
Man, everyone's going to hate me. I'm giving it a B.
Oh.
He hates everything.
No, I don't hate everything. It was a good movie. It was a good, solid movie. There was just a few things that really didn't strike well, in my opinion. It definitely wasn't bad. It was fun, but it's not one of those movies where you're like, man, I got to see it again. At least for me, the first Guardians was a B plus, so it's not super surprising that I'm doing it so low.
Wait,
but
you gave the original Guardians a B plus.
Yes.
And this one a B.
a B, yeah. There's just so there's again.
That's right, viewers. That's my.
I
that's my
know,
rating of
I
Guardians
know,
of the
I know.
Movies.
But
Yeah.
it's real. So Guardians of the Galaxy is one of those comics that I see as a D-class comic book.
Oh yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's really hard to pull it up there, but they do a great job of that. So, but there's just so many things that didn't strike quite right. Like the weird queen and her robotic pilots that just, they never really explained.
The arcade.
The
kind
arcade,
of,
The arcade thing.
That was hilarious.
That was weird, but the biggest thing is they never really explained why the battery is so important that she would send everything they had
it
after
wasn't
them.
about the batteries. It was about the fact that they betrayed that.
It was
that
sending a
group.
message.
Yeah.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but if you're sending a message, why are you sending the message? What is so overwhelming to.
Don't mess with us.
Don't steal our batteries. If you come back and steal our batteries, we will kill you too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole premise at the very beginning of the movie. They say, hey, don't mess these guys. Don't mess
I
with
know.
them. Because they take offense very easily, and punishment's death.
Yeah.
I still owe you those 4 AAAs. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there's just a few things that I felt needed a little bit more explanation, but it definitely didn't warrant a C or lower. So, all right.
I want you to make a movie so we can all like.
Yeah, I want to see what your grade A movie is. what is a movie you've given an A grade to?
Aliens.
Oh, those are horrible.
Huh?
I do not like the Aliens movies.
No,
Just, like,
Aliens, the second one. Second one. Oh my
they all
gosh.
bother me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I watched it the first time though.
It has been
It's actually pretty
way
good.
too long since I've seen that. I'm going to have to revisit
Yeah.
that.
Anyways, all right. We'll have to come
Marvel
up
movie that's
Marvel movie.
Yes.
Captain America.
Really?
The first one.
really
First one.
above Iron Man.
Yes.
Wow.
And above the Thors?
Oh yeah. Thor's are like B minus C range.
your language.
Watch
yeah,
your
you gotta be
language.
careful.
That's
Some
all
of
right.
us like Thor, but Iron
First
Man
one,
for
first
me-
one,
Piss
first
off
one,
women is what
first
you're
one
trying
is
to
B
do.
plus. First Thor is B plus. Second one is a flat C.
Really?
Oh, I didn't like the second one.
liked it.
But
I
Iron
do
Man
have
1
I
has
do
to
have
be-
high hopes for number
Ragnarok.
3. Iron Man's an A minus, almost an A, but there's a couple things that they
He
missed.
just really does hate everything.
He
No,
really
I don't.
does. He really does.
How is an A minus bad?
You don't even have a half-empty Mountain Dew over there. It's probably mostly empty, isn't it?
It's half.
Got a C plus.
I'm just really critical about it, but that's okay. I love comics. But anyways, we're out of here. We're out of time, and I'm probably going to get stoned.
Daniel,
Not that kind of stoned. The other kind.
I am Groot.
Whatever makes you feel better about yourself.